Now to the Capitol, where House Speaker Paul Ryan's spokeswoman releasing this statement moments ago saying, quote, "Last night's response was fully within the president's authority. It is now appropriate for the administration to consult with Congress as it considers next steps to resolve the long-running crisis in Syria." Joining us now to discuss all of this is Senator James Lankford. He is a member of both the Senate Intelligence Committee and the Senate Homeland Security Committee. What do you make of that statement, sir?
I think that statement is consistent with all the facts that we've seen as well. The president has authority to be able to protect national security, obviously to be able to protect what's happening. We have forces in the area. While this is a direct strike on the Syrian regime and Assad's forces, we have 20 to 30 different airstrikes a day that's happening in Syria right now against ISIS. So we're very active in that area and have some vulnerabilities there. Long term, we do have to resolve this. There's not an authorization for a use of military force or a long-term plan. It was one of the things that President Obama would never bring to us is a long-term plan for what we need to do in Syria. There was conversation, but no plan.
Yeah.
We hope to be able to get that so we can actually develop what needs to happen next there.
Senator Rand Paul is coming up later on our program today. He thought that this action was unconstitutional. What do you say to that?
No, I wouldn't say it's unconstitutional, but it is time for the next step to be able to come out and say, okay, let's determine as the American people, and the American people decide together through the Congress and be able to work with the president, and the president carries that out. The president is commander-in-chief when the troops are in the field, but Congress is the one who actually calls them out. And so that is an essential part of our constitutional structure.
We understand that you're just emerging from a briefing on this. What did you learn? Anything new?
No, we walked through what happened, how it happened, the TikTok of the evening. We walked through the assessments that they have now, and then we just talked through the process. Obviously, there's no plan for what happens next. A lot of it depends on Bashar al-Assad and what his response is. I would tell you that Assad does need to go. That should be a clear message from the administration. I wish it would have been a clear message from the previous administration. Nothing gets settled with ISIS long term until you actually resolve what's happening with Assad. So this changes dramatically in Syria, and the situation changes when the leadership changes, and we have a transition of leadership there.
I know you were in that meeting. I'm not sure if you've had a chance to hear this, but this is Nikki Haley at the UN Security Council meeting. Let's play it. I'll get your reaction.
It could be that Russia has been incompetent in its efforts to remove the chemical weapons. Or it could be that the Assad regime is playing the Russians for fools.
I mean, there's a lot of talk about what Russia's role in this was. We all remember that Susan Rice assured us on NPR that they had removed chemical weapons through diplomacy. Obviously, they were there when this act took place. What do you think Russia's role and responsibility in this is?
Well, Russia clearly has responsibility. Russia was also the country that said that they were monitoring all this, they were evaluating this, they could sign off for the Syrians and say there were no chemical weapons there, that everything had been purged from it. So they're either lying to just the American people or to the entire world, or they were helping the Syrians be able to carry out this chemical weapons attack. Either way, this was deception, and it falls squarely on the shoulder of the Russians. Either they could have known, should have known, but they're Russians on the same base where they're storing, maintaining, loading, carrying out chemical weapons attacks. It's impossible for me to be able to believe the Russians when they would say, I didn't know, or their false accusation that somehow this was stored in one of these locations and the Syrians just hit the house where the rebels were using it is farcical. So there's no doubt the Syrians had it. There's no question that the Russians knew that they were using it. The Russians are absolutely complicit in this and should be responsible for helping either get rid of it and to be able to settle this. The best way they can do that is to help eject Assad out of this, who they are help protecting and propping up.
Senator, thank you.